of a spring. Later on, we'll study magnetic, electrical, and chemical is something that we already study in chemistry. You will study that in chemistry also. Chemical form of energy is basically the energy which is stored in a cell, okay, in the form of ions fundamentally. Okay. Now, their relation with conservative force is the interesting part. Okay. So potential energy is defined only for conservative forces. It is defined only with conservative forces, or in better words, only conservative forces can change potential energy. Non-conservative forces can never change potential energy. Why? Because potential energy will only exist in certain type of field. Means wherever there is gravitational field, wherever there is electrical field, wherever there is a magnetic field, you will find potential energy. And in these three fields, the field forces are gravitational force, electrostatic force, magnetic force. The two forces you will obviously study in 12th standard, and 12th standard we will see the expression of potential energy also. But understand that your potential energy is only going to be dependent upon your conservative forces. Friction will not make a body go up. The friction will not make a body store gravitational energy. It does not even care whether there is gravity or not. Friction will act as long as there is roughness in the surface. Okay, wherever there is a possibility of relative motion, the friction will come into existence. But gravity will come into existence when there is a gravitational field. Okay, so another point says that potential energy is always defined relatively, and its absolute value can never be calculated. I'll give you a very simple example for this. Please listen to me carefully. So wherever I live, this is basically 4th floor. Okay, so if I calculate my potential energy with respect to the floor on which I am right now, my potential energy is 0 because I am on the floor right now. Okay, everyone. Maybe my legs are on the floor, so that's why my potential energy when I calculate is m into g into 0 with respect to my own floor, 4th floor. But if I speak about the road, my potential energy is not 0. Getting my point? Then my potential energy is not 0 because then h will not be equal to 0. My height is actually the height of the 4th floor. So m into g into h will be non-zero. So it actually depends upon my reference level. The point, the line that we define as h equal to 0. So potential energy will never be an absolute value. It will always depend upon the relative distance that the body is traveling. Or I should say that we will always have to define a reference point where we consider the height to be 0. Okay, everyone? We will see this when we solve the questions also. Okay. Now, before I show you guys that slide directly which correlates the potential energy and the conservative force, I again want you people to see this example, where I said that there is a correlation which I will explain. So everyone look at this. When we have the body going from point A to B, it is definitely the conservative force working, definitely potential energy is changing. So we have already calculated the work done when the body was taken from A to B. We have calculated that work already. Let's calculate the change in potential energy when the body is taken from A to B. Let's calculate for it, just for a moment, the change in potential energy, which is U final minus U initial. Now what did I say just now? Potential energy can never be calculated absolute. You will have to define your reference level. Okay, let's define reference level. This is my height equal to 0 point. This is my level where I define height as 0. That means at A, the potential energy is considered to be 0 because I have defined that height to be 0. Okay, so B has a height that is equal to h. Okay, guys. So potential energy final minus potential energy initial when I'm writing. Oh, what just happened? Yeah. So I should be writing it as potential energy of B minus potential energy of A. Final minus initial. Final potential energy. Can you people tell me in the chat box the potential energy at B if this is h equal to 0? Is it m into g into h? Potential energy of B and potential energy of A quickly in the chat box. Potential energy at A, it is 0 because height is 0. M into G into 0. So what am I getting as potential energy change? Quickly. Potential energy change comes out to be capital MGH. Just for a moment, look at the work which was done by the conservative gravitational force. Came out to be minus MGH. Change in potential energy plus MGH. Okay. Another example. This one. Okay. Now this time the body is coming down. Okay. This is still h equal to 0. Ground level is h equal to 0. Let's calculate the change in potential energy. U final minus U initial. This time final is A and initial is B because you're starting from B. Okay. So this time the potential energy at A is capital M into G into 0 minus capital M into G into the height of that point, that is h. So MGH. Remember, I'm not writing work here. I'm writing potential energy. So this also, when simplified, comes out to be minus MGH. Look at the correlation once again. Guys, try to decipher. Work done minus MGH, potential energy plus MGH. Work done plus MGH, potential energy change minus MGH. Now I'm asking you guys, can I conclude that work done by the conservative force is equal to the negative of the change in potential energy, or change in potential energy is equal to minus of the conservative force work done? Both things. Can I conclude that with the present example in front of us? Right, everybody? As I said, I will give you all the answers. I think you have the answers now. And that is why the final conclusion, which I did not directly want to show you guys before the slide that you see here, is what it says. This is what it says. Now it has already given you the answers. I've already told you how and why. I've shown you how and why. Okay. Work done by conservative force is equal to the negative of the change in potential energy. Please, I have a very humble request. Please remember this for next 2 years at least. Please remember this for next 2 years at least. At least 3 times from today till the chapter of magnetism, I will remind you this. At least for 1 year, I will remind you this. I will need you to remember this for your JEE preparation. Can you people remember this correlation? This will help us in number of times. This will help us. A small statement will help us in number of times. Okay? Remember this, everyone. I am bringing that slide down where we have proved that potential energy and gravitational forces are correlated to each other. Okay? Duplicate and one more duplicate. Okay? So this comes here. This is, yes, perfect. So I'm bringing these slides once again down so that you are able to see the correlation later on when you're going through the revision. Okay? Just hold on a second, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Okay, everyone. Now, before you get scared of this one, switching off the chat so that again we focus. Everybody, we said that work done by conservative force is negative of the change in potential energy. So if I write the work done by conservative force, I'll say it is F into, say, delta X. F into delta X, that is displacement, is equal to minus of delta U. Or for a generic displacement, I'll write it as delta r. So I can say that work done is equal to minus of delta u by delta r. And if the change, delta represents change, right? If change becomes, this was measurable, right? So this is measurable change. If change becomes immeasurable, then you will say it is minus of du by dr. Liख sakte hain, everyone? Can we write this? Right? Okay, cool. So what does this mean? What does this mean? I'll give you an example right away so that we understand this. When we have potential energy variation given to us, when the potential energy is given to us as a function of x, y, or z, maybe all three, maybe two, maybe one. Any three could be present, or means all three could be present, any two or any one could be present. Okay, so if this is given to you, then the force will be calculated as minus of du by dx I cap, minus of du by dy j cap, and minus of du by dz k cap. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? I will not get into the technicalities of what is it called. I will give you the feel of it. If potential energy is given as a function of x, y, and z, means a mathematical equation is given to you for the potential energy, and question asks you to calculate the force acting on the body, you will simply differentiate the potential energy equation first only with x, second only with y, third only with z. Whenever you differentiate with respect to x, you will consider y and z as a constant. When you differentiate with respect to y, you will consider x and z to be a constant. And whenever you will differentiate with respect to z, you will consider x and y to be constant. Accordingly, you will be able to write what is written. And I believe in examples, so I will directly give you the example to understand this better. Okay. So have a look. I'll create an example right away. So if potential energy is given to you, say x square plus y cube minus z, this is how say potential energy is changing. So question says find the force acting at 1, 1, 1. Means there is a point in the space where when the body moves, the potential energy can be found by putting that value here. Potential energy can be found as 1 plus 1 minus 1. 1 joules is the potential energy at this point P. But what is the force that is acting on that body at this point P is what question will ask you to find out. So you will solve it in this method. Okay, first of all, you will find out the x component of the force by minus of du by dx, or just calculate du by dx, I would say. Calculate only du by dx. Means what? You will differentiate the expression of u with respect to x. So when you differentiate, focus on x square. X square differentiation will be 2x with respect to x. Can you people tell me differentiation of y cube with respect to x? Let's see if you people remember this. Yes, it will be 0. Why? Because you're differentiating with respect to x. What about z? The differentiation will be 0. Okay, so differentiation is only 2x. Thank you guys, love you all. Similarly, fy will be du by dy. Differentiation of x square with respect to y will be 0. Differentiation of y cube, now tell me, differentiation of y cube will be 3y square, and this will be 0. So this is 3y square. Okay, finally fz, which is du by dz. Okay, and 0 plus 0 minus 1. Okay, so this is 1. Now you have to write down your force as minus of du by dx I cap, minus of du by dy j cap, and minus of du by dz k cap. By the way, this is called partial differentiation for those who are curious. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It will be minus 1. Yes, it will be minus 1. Thank you, everyone. This will be minus 1. Okay. So what is it? It is minus of 2x I cap, minus of 3y square j cap, and minus 1 k cap. Getting it, everyone? Now the final step. What will you do? You are being asked to find out the force. This is the equation that you have got. Okay. This will become plus. Correct. Now it will become plus. Yeah, but yeah. Very good, everyone. So now you have to put the coordinates 1, 1, 1. Just put and tell me. Substitute. This is what you will put here. What is the final vector that I'm getting? I will get minus 2 I cap, minus 3 j cap, plus k cap. Are we getting this force? Again, final answer is not important, but putting that and getting the final answer is the process. You just saw the demonstration of how you are going to calculate the force acting on a body when the potential energy variation is given to us. Okay. Good enough. Okay, everyone. What minus 5 plus 1 equal to minus 4 as in? What just happened? Okay. Replay फिर से देख लेना. Can you please clarify step 1 and 2? So when you are differentiating this everything with respect to x, y and z will be considered constant, and constants का differentiation is 0. So when you differentiate with respect to x, y and z naturally treated as 0, treated as constant. So their differentiation is 0. Okay. Second step is differentiate with respect to y. So now x and z will be treated as constant. So only differentiation of y cube will happen. Okay. And third, only differentiation of z will happen. Fine. Cool. So guys, we have some time, so let's solve some questions quickly. You will find the same things written in good typing work for all of you guys to refer later on. Now, the potential energy of the body is given by a minus b x square. So what would you comment about the magnitude of the force acting on the particle? You know that the force is minus of du by dx. In this case, only minus du by dx will do because potential energy is only depending on x. So only minus du by dx will do. You have to find out. I'm giving you 30 seconds and your time starts in 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So differentiate. A ka differentiation 0 because A and B are constants. You guys have already started to get the feel of it, right? B constant, x square ka differentiation is 2x. So force comes out to be, and because it is minus of it, so minus of this thing. So it gives me 2bx. So that tells you that force is directly proportional to x. Okay. Now everyone, we say that the force is minus of du by dx. Okay. Abhi, what we are going to see next is something which I have not taught you in differentiation. It is ideally studied in mathematics and 12th standard. So something that I want you people to keep in mind. Again, something that I want you people to remember. Okay. This is without any logic. I would ask you people to remember at the moment. Okay. Whenever a situation is given where potential energy is given as a function of, say r, and the force is calculated as du by dr. So sometimes, question will tell you to find out the value of the force when the system is in equilibrium. Okay, something of this sort. We say that for equilibrium, the force acting on the body should be equal to 0, right? We know this. So in order to make force to be equal to 0, you will be dealing with a situation where the system will be in equilibrium. And by equilibrium, we mean that the net force acting on the body should be 0. So in that case, you will always differentiate the expression of u and you will equate it equal to 0. Okay. This will give you a certain condition at which you can find out the value of the potential energy. Okay. Remember, when the force acting on the body is 0, one very important point. Okay. When F acting on the body is 0, then potential energy scalar. Potential energy could be either maximum or could be minimum. 99% of the time, the question that we'll deal with, we will say potential energy is minimum. I'll just put it in words. This is the part which we have not studied in calculus, but you will still understand this. From physics, you will understand this. We can say that if the force acting on a body, the net force acting on the body is 0. Like if I speak about this situation, this body right now is under 0 force. Normal is acting upward, gravity is acting downward. We can say that the body is right now under stability. It is stable. And whenever there is stability, the potential energy will be inversely proportional to the stability. So if the system has good stability, the potential energy will be minimum. Okay. We will understand this very well by just getting this point. Okay. There are two possible ways of talking about the stability or equilibrium. When a body is, say, I talk about a situation where I will keep a body here, a ball, in a bowl, right? And I will invert the bowl. Bowl is basically a cup, okay? And I will keep the sphere over it. There are two positions, position 1 or situation 1A and situation B. In both the cases, everyone, the net force acting on the ball is 0. The net force acting on the ball in both the situations is 0. But the first one is called a stable equilibrium. Why it is called stable equilibrium? If I will displace the ball here and release it from there, it will again come back to that position, which is the bottommost position. It will again come back here. So the position is a stable equilibrium because it has minimum potential energy, because U is minimum. But if you look at this case, you say that the situation is unstable equilibrium. Why it is unstable equilibrium? Why? Because if I will displace the body, anywhere, left or right, body will go down, will never come back up. So we can say that at this unstable equilibrium, the potential energy is maximum. But everybody on position A and B, the F net in both the cases is 0. Go back here to understand. Whenever the force acting on the body is 0, the potential energy could be maximum or could be minimum. If it is minimum, it is stable equilibrium. If it is maximum potential energy, it is unstable equilibrium. Guys, got the feel of it? Give me a +1 if you guys got the feel of it. Right? Okay. Can we spend 2 more minutes to see an example quickly? Can we spend 2 more minutes? Right? So just be with me for next 2 minutes so that we see a question also. This is a question that came in JEE Main 2020. Question has given us the potential energy variation with R as minus A by R to the power 6 plus B by R to the power 12. And it says that at equilibrium, you have to find out the separation between the two molecules. That means you have to find out the value of R and you have to find out the value of potential energy when the two molecules which are storing this potential energy, they are under stable equilibrium. They are under equilibrium, not even stable or unstable is being given. Standard operating procedure. The standard operating procedure says you have to, whenever equilibrium is said, you have to make the force acting on the body 0. Okay, so differentiate this. Minus A, R to the power minus 6 plus B, R to the power minus 12. So when you differentiate R to the power minus 6, it will be minus 6, R to the power minus 7, n x to the power n minus 1. So this will be minus of minus 6 A, R to the power minus 7. Similarly, R to the power minus 12 will become minus 12, R to the power minus 13. This is n x to the power n minus 1 that we are doing here. Okay. So second would be plus B and minus of 12 into B into R to the power minus 13. This is what has been differentiated. When you differentiate, A remains there, minus 6, R to the power minus 7, minus 12, R to the power minus 13. Okay, take minus inside. You have 6A, so 0 से equate भी करना है हमें, 6A by R to the power 7, minus, just one thing. This one was plus, right? So this is plus. So this became now minus minus plus, and this is minus 12B by R to the power 13. And this is the force acting on the body, which has to be equated to 0. Okay, everyone? So I'm just doing some simple mathematics here. This becomes 6A R to the power 6 divided by R to the power 13. I'm just taking the LCM. Okay, you basically multiply this by R to the power 6 divided by R to the power 6, so denominator becomes R to the power 13. Okay, so you take this here, simplify it, this part became 0, and I have 6A R to the power 6 equal to 12B. So R to the power 6 can be written as 6 cancelling this 2 times, 2B by A, or R comes out to be 2B by A power 1 by 6. This is what it is. If you look at the options, 2B by A power 1 by 6. At this position, the two molecules are in equilibrium. Okay, guys, and at this position, you have to put this value of R here in order to find out the value of potential energy. Have a look what we do. We got the value of R as 2B by A, or R to the power 6 we got as 2B by A. So here R to the power 6 you will directly put as 2B by A, and this is R to the power 12. R to the power 12 is basically R to the power 6 square. So just put the square of this 2B by A square and simplify it. You'll get the value of potential energy also. Okay. So finally, if you look at the options, this is the answer that we get. Okay, guys. This was our calculation by differentiating the expression which was given to us, equated it to 0, got the value of our standard operating procedure, and question also asks us to calculate the value of potential energy. Okay. Now this one is actually a quiz, but I'm giving you guys this as homework. Okay. So later on, I want you people to go through this. Next time we'll solve this also. Okay, guys. Yep, the leaderboard. Yes. Sadia, wait a minute. Okay, Sunil sir, no problem. Okay, everybody. Solution of the previous question. Yes, guys. So overall, the session is done. Those who want to exit can exit also. Okay. Yes, Utkarsh. Okay, we'll do it properly. So question says that U, the potential energy, is minus A by R to the power 6 plus 2B. Kya? Is it 2B? Question says it is B by R to the power 12. Yes. So this is what the question is. Okay. Just a second. Yes, we have not a problem. Okay. So we have to differentiate. That is for sure, right? So I want to differentiate. Let's first understand only the differentiation of it. If I have say a question which says y equal to R to the power 6, you know that I cannot directly differentiate it because it is in denominator. So I have to bring it in numerator. Now differentiation will be done. Dy by dr. Now tell me what will be the differentiation of this part? Not power 5. Minus 7. So this is minus 6 by R to the power 7. I can say that. So if say instead of 1, A was written here. So this is how I can write it. So A will be there as it is. This is what it is. Similarly, if y was B upon R to the power 12, then it will be R to the power minus 12 into B. I can write it like this. Right? So now dy by dr will be, tell me, minus 12B. Not A, B. R to the power? Exactly. Or I can say it is minus 12B upon R to the power 30. Correct? Now let's just write that as minus du by dr. So we get it as minus 6A by R to the power 7. Minus minus will become plus actually. So minus of minus 6A by R to the power 7. And this is also, this was given to us as minus, just a second. What just happened here? Minus I, minus I, minus I, minus I, plus. And this was plus. I got confused. Just a second. So if I will just multiply this part by minus. Okay, what is happening is I did not consider a minus sign here. That is why this is happening. Getting? So बस एक minus sign का change आ जाएगा. Now we are correct. So this is minus of, when I multiply this thing inside, I will get it as minus 6A by R to the power 7 and plus 12B by R to the power 13, and I will equate it to 0. Okay. From here you will simplify as we did it from there. Okay. Sir, potential energy is stored form of energy, so nuclear energy is also potential energy. If potential energy is stored form of energy, so nuclear energy is also stored form of energy. At subatomic level, yes. At subatomic level, yes. Okay. Sir, work is mgh, which means work increases with increase in height. But if we take the body very high, then the effect of gravity on the object should decrease height. Exactly, Monish, and that is why we will study this in gravitation. Okay. Okay. Yes, Aryan. Aryan. Last lesson as in last chapter. हाँ. इसका मतलब होता है द नेट फोर्स एक्टिंग ऑन द बॉडी अलोंग एक्स डायरेक्शन इज 0. सो मान लो एक बॉडी सिग्मा एफ वाई से समझाता हूँ, ज्यादा रिलेटेबल लगेगा. मान लो सिग्मा एफ वाई इक्वल टू 0 लिखा है. ये कहने का मतलब है कि मान लो बॉडी पे वाई डायरेक्शन में दो फोर्सेस हैं, एन और एम जी. ठीक है. तो जब ये लिखेंगे तो अगर हमने ऊपर वाले डायरेक्शन को जे कैप डिफाइन किया तो नीचे वाला माइनस जे कैप हो गया. तो जब ये लिखूंगा तो इसे लिखना पड़ेगा एन जे कैप प्लस एम जी माइनस जे कैप शुड बी इक्वल टू 0. दिस इज व्हाट राइटिंग दिस मींस. सिग्मा का मतलब क्या होता है? एडिशन ऑफ ऑल द फोर्सेस शुड बी इक्वल टू 0 वेक्टोरियली, नॉट मैथमेटिकली, वेक्टोरियली. ओके. और ये लिखना इज फंडामेंटली इक्वल टू एन इक्वल टू एम जी मैग्नीट्यूड वाइज. ये तभी पॉसिबल है जब एन और एम जी का मैग्नीट्यूड इक्वल होगा और डायरेक्शन अपोजिट. ओके. Dilraj Singh, your microphone is not working, bacha. Okay. Aman? Yes. Slide number 47. Yes. Tell me. अभी लास्ट में एक्सप्लेन किया उस चीज को मैंने दोबारा से. देखो, जितना ज्यादा बॉडी की हाइट होगी उतना ज्यादा उसकी अनस्टेबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगी या स्टेबिलिटी कम हो जाएगी. बोल सकता हूँ? जैसे बॉडी ए पे थी, मैं उसे यहाँ कहीं ले गया सी पे, तो उसकी पोटेंशियल एनर्जी बढ़ा दी और फिर छोड़ दिया. क्योंकि बॉडी की स्टेबिलिटी कम कर दी थी मैंने, तो बॉडी वापस से, इस यूनिवर्स में हर एक ऑब्जेक्ट हमेशा स्टेबिलिटी पे जाना चाहता है, तो वापस से स्टेबल पोजीशन में आएगा. ये जो लिखा है ना, ये जो लिखा है, इसका मतलब होता है कि तुम्हारे सामने जो भी इक्वेशन लिखी है उसे सिर्फ x के साथ डिफरेंशिएशन करो. दैट मींस व्हाट? इक्वेशन में जहां-जहां x लिखे सिर्फ वही डिफरेंशिएट होगा. बाकी सब कांस्टेंट की रेट होंगे. बाकी सब कांस्टेंट की रेट होंगे. इसलिए उनका डिफरेंशिएशन दिया जाएगा. गेटिंग? ये ना, वो भी दिया हो सकता है. एग्जैक्टली. हां, इनफैक्ट शायद हम अगली बार ऐसे क्वेश्चन भी देखें जहां पे x y और z मल्टीप्लाई हो रखे हो. यहां पहले जो मैंने एग्जांपल दिया उसमें तो ऐड किया, सब्ट्रैक्ट किया, सर. मल्टीप्लाई भी हो रखे होंगे तो कोई बात नहीं. अगर मान लो लिखा हुआ u = x y z, या एक्स स्क्वायर वाई जेड क्यूब ऐसा लिखा हुआ है, तो कोई बात नहीं, जब एक्स के साथ डिफरेंशिएट कर रहा हूं तो मेरे लिए वाई जेड कांस्टेंट है, तो जो कांस्टेंट के साथ करता हूं वही करूंगा, अलग अलग दूंगा ऐसे, बाकी सिर्फ एक्स पे फोकस करो। हाँ, मल्टीप्लिकेशन रूल्स भी याद रखने हैं, हाँ, एडिशन रूल्स अलग होते हैं डिफरेंशिएशन में, मल्टीप्लिकेशन रूल्स अलग होते हैं, ठीक है। बोलो दिलराज, बोलो बच्चा। एक मिनट दिलराज, एक मिनट। यस गाइस, आई हैव रियलाइज्ड कि यहाँ पे कुछ साइन का गड़बड़ हुआ है, यहाँ पे कुछ कुछ तो साइन का गड़बड़ हुआ है, प्लस माइनस कुछ हो गया है ना। शुड हैड बीन प्लस हियर, शुड हैड बीन माइनस हियर, राइट, ऐसे ही बोल रहे हो ना हम लोग, राइट, बट आंसर पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, आंसर पे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा उससे, बिकॉज इवेंचुअली तुम उसे जीरो से इक्वेट कर रहे हो, ठीक है। तो कर दो, यहाँ माइनस कर दो, यहाँ प्लस कर दो, सिंपलीफाई कर दो, ओके। यस दिलराज, अभी बोलो। कौन सा वाला? एक मिनट, एक मिनट, तुम बात कर रहे हो स्प्रिंग फोर्स के बारे में, तुम बात कर रहे हो स्प्रिंग फोर्स के डेरिवेशन के बारे में, इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हो, राइट, यू आर स्पीकिंग अबाउट दिस, एम आई राइट दिलराज? हाँ, तो why we did that is because whenever my force is not a constant, this force is not a constant, I'll have to integrate. Why? Because when the body will move, the force acting on it will change. So which force value do I use to calculate force into displacement? No fixed value. So I'll have to split my journey into small, small displacements dx. And whenever displacements are considered small, 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 you'll have to add all those values, which is called as integration. I have to speak. इससे ज़्यादा फील मिलेगी, इससे ज़्यादा फील मिलेगी दिलराज, इससे ज़्यादा फील मिलेगी मेरे पिछले वाले सेशन में, जहाँ मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है कि वर्क डन बाय वेरिएबल फोर्स होता है, वहाँ मैंने ज़्यादा अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया है कि वर्क डन बाय वेरिएबल फोर्स क्यों इंटीग्रेट करते हैं। और बोलो। हाँ लिसनिंग। आई का वाला। हाँ, एक मिनट ढूंढना पड़ेगा यार, तुम स्लाइड नंबर याद नहीं रखा तुमने, कंजर्वेटिव कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स के बाद आया था ये रहा। हाँ, टेल मी, R1 and R2, we could have, but the problem is I will any which way have to go in different direction, that is why, means what, I'll put it this way, because my force is not constant, I'll any which way have to integrate. So even if I know what is the displacement effectively on that path of displacement, the force is not constant, so I'll have to integrate. So x ka value will any which way go from 2 to 4, y ka value will go from 3 to 6, so that is why, because my first thought has to be about the force, it's not constant, okay. Yeah, question, which question? Can you please come out of the room wherever you are sitting, or ask the people to at least mute the sound from the background? 60, 65. Yes, tell me. You can apply that also. You will get the same answer. Yes. Okay. Yes, Aditya Rana. Siddharth will be the next one. Yes, Aditya. Good evening. एक्स वाई जेड वाला क्वेश्चन, एक मिनट, और विशेष का आंसर मुझे करने देना जरा, मैं पहले उससे उसका एक क्वेश्चन उसको आंसर कर देता हूँ। विशेष, ये विशेष का रिक्वेस्ट है, बहुत देर से स्पैम किया जा रहा है, सर कैन यू प्लीज चेंज द टाइमिंग ऑफ द गाइडेंस सेशन एज इट इज शेड्यूल्ड एट 12 पीएम बट वी ऑलमोस्ट हैव स्कूल्ड एट 1:30 and 1 पीएम, प्लीज फॉरवर्ड इट टू सर, इट इज डायरेक्टली कमिंग टू सर बाय द वे, एंड सेकंडली इट इज नॉट सर हु डिसाइड्स व्हेन इज द गाइडेंस सेशन, if you think that is the timing which is not working for you, you know what you have to do, write an email at vk@vedantu.com, I'm just an employee of Vedantu, I will follow the instructions which are given to me by the backend team for the nth time, okay. Vishesh, thank you. Yes Aditya, now x y and z are answers, yes absolutely. वेरिएबल है, चेन रूल लगाना पड़ेगा तो लगाएंगे, क्योंकि वो एक्चुअली प्रोसेस ऑफ डिफरेंशिएशन है, चेन रूल तो मेथड ऑफ डिफरेंशिएशन बता रहा है, ये हमें ये बता रहा है कि अगर मेरे पास कोई एक पॉइंट है जिसके कोऑर्डिनेट्स मुझे पता है, और ये ऑब्वियसली किसी बॉडी की पोटेंशियल एनर्जी लिखी हुई है, किसी सिस्टम की पोटेंशियल एनर्जी का फॉर्मूला लिखा हुआ है, इसमें अगर मैं x के y के और z के कोऑर्डिनेट्स की वैल्यू पुट कर दूंगा, जो कि ऑब्वियसली अलग अलग पॉइंट्स पे अलग अलग वैल्यू देगा मुझे, तो मुझे अलग अलग स्पेस में अलग अलग पॉइंट्स पे बॉडी की पोटेंशियल एनर्जी कितनी है वो मिल जाएगी, दैट इज व्हाट इट इज, एंड ऑब्वियसली ऑन x y and z कोऑर्डिनेट्स, दैट्स इट, ओके। किधर गया सिद्धार्थ सरकार? हाँ ना, वेट अ मिनट, आई विल स्पीक टू सिद्धार्थ एंड आई विल रीड व्हाट यू आर राइटिंग। ये सिद्धार्थ बोलो। वो इंक्रीज होता जाएगा टेंशन, दोनों पे सेम एक्ट करेगा लेकिन उसकी वैल्यू चेंज होती जाएगी, मतलब ये कि यहाँ आने वाला टेंशन अगर टी है और यहाँ आने वाला टेंशन भी, मतलब ये T1 और ये T2 है, तो ये एक्चुअली दोनों टी ही रहेंगे, पर टी जो है वो कांस्टेंट नहीं होगा, आर गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, मतलब अगर इस पे लगने वाला फोर्स का वैल्यू 1 न्यूटन है तो इस पे भी 1 न्यूटन होगा टेंशन का वैल्यू, अगर ये बढ़ के 2 न्यूटन हो गया तो ये भी 2 न्यूटन हो गया होगा, अगर ये 3 न्यूटन हो गया तो ये भी 3 न्यूटन हो जाएगा, तो टेंशन चेंज हो रहा है लेकिन लग दोनों पे सेम वैल्यू रही है, दैट्स व्हाट, कुछ भी होने दो, इट्स द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग, इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद द मास, रहेगा दोनों पे टेंशन का वैल्यू सेम, बिकॉज़ वी अज्यूम दैट द स्ट्रिंग इज मासलेस। वही एक सिचुएशन है जो प्रीवियस चैप्टर में मैं बताना भूल गया, या आई शुड से कि जो करिकुलम था उसमें वो आया ही नहीं, आई विल डू दैट इन दिस चैप्टर अगर टाइम मिलेगा तो, क्योंकि जिस तरह से हम स्पीड से जा रहे हैं उस तरीके से हमारा प्रेजेंट सिलेबस ही नहीं हो पाता है ड्यूरिंग द सेशन, तो ये एक चीज है जो है दिमाग में, जहां पे स्ट्रिंग पे मास आएगा तो टेंशन का वैल्यू अलग होगा, वो मैं बताऊंगा, डेफिनेटली बताऊंगा, डोंट वरी, ठीक है। बोलो कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स का वर्क, हाँ कम अगेन, तुम गए या किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को फेंका, ये लिखे हुए सारे एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे, इन सब पाथ्स पे वर्क डन सेम आने वाला है। लेकिन अगर तुम ये कहना चाहते हो कि सर मैं खुद यहाँ से एक ऑब्जेक्ट को ऐसे लेके जाऊँ, या मैं एक ऑब्जेक्ट को यहाँ से ऐसे लेके जाऊँ, या मैं खुद यहाँ से ऐसे लेके जाऊँ, या खुद यहाँ से ऐसे लेके जाऊँ, तो मुझे सबसे ज्यादा डिफिकल्टी तो पहले पाथ पे होने वाली है, वहां मेरा सबसे ज्यादा वर्क होगा। बिल्कुल होगा, तुम्हारा लगा हुआ फोर्स कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स नहीं है, मैं ग्रेविटी की बात कर रहा हूँ। ग्रेविटी को सेम वर्क करना पड़ेगा, तुम्हें अलग वर्क करना पड़ेगा। रिप्लेस देखो, क्या बाद में करना यार, बाद में करना तो एडवाइजेबल नहीं है, क्योंकि चैप्टर फंडामेंटल है, उसकी चीजें यहाँ पे काम में आएंगी, बहुत बार चीजें नहीं समझ में आएंगी अगर वो चैप्टर के कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर नहीं होंगे तो मैं बोलूंगा किसी एक वीकेंड पे एक्स्ट्रा मेहनत कर लो, सारे सेशन देख डालो, बहुत जरूरी है, छोड़ नहीं सकते। ये सब इतने इंटरकनेक्टेड चैप्टर्स हैं, एक भी बीच में छूट गया, एक सेशन भी छूट गया तो ऐसा लगेगा कि यार पता नहीं क्या चल रहा है क्लास के अंदर, वैसा होता है बहुत। ठीक है, ओके, यस आलोक, आई कैन जस्ट अ सेकंड। Anna said that, sir, in the question in which it was asked that in the path followed by A and D, force is conservative or not, you explain that it is not. Since in the loop I get the addition, the third part is minus. So, एक minute, can Hannah, if we go back to that question, where, yes, this one. For all possible round trips, this should be valid. Even if there is one exception, it's not acceptable. Okay, Hannah Sharma, are you there? Okay, so we found one exception, hence not a conservative force. It will be not like chemistry that it has exception. No, not even a single exception is acceptable for the definition. ओके चलो, ये आलोक, तो मैं क्वेश्चन के बाद मुझे क्वेश्चन नहीं होते सर, एक्स्ट्रा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, बहुत सिंपल आंसर है। कितना कितना घंटे पढ़ाई करते हो? एक मिनट, 12 to 14 आवर्स में क्या क्या करते हो, वो भी रिपीट करना, मुझे बताना। नहीं, ये स्कूल का टाइम भी इसी में है, वेदांतु का टाइम भी इसी में है, सेल्फ स्टडी भी इसी में है। तुम बोल रहे हो 12 घंटे तुम सेल्फ स्टडी करते हो? मैं अभी की बात कर रहा हूँ, मुझे शुरुआत से मतलब नहीं है, मुझे प्रेजेंट से मतलब है, पास्ट से नहीं। यू आर डूइंग सेल्फ स्टडी फॉर 7 to 9 आवर्स और फिर भी तुम्हारा बैकलॉग है। अरे यार, फिर तुम गलत तरीके से प्रोसेस जा रहे हो, तुम मतलब लगता है तत्व का एक एक सवाल सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हो। तो मैं पहले बता चुका हूँ कि तत्व का पहले तो एक्सरसाइज शुरू करने से पहले नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन देखो कितने हैं। जैसे एक्सरसाइज 1 में मान लो तुम्हें मिले 100 सवाल, ठीक है, और तुम्हें मालूम है कि तुम्हारे पास कितने दिन अवेलेबल है और कितना टाइम अवेलेबल है, ठीक है, तो तुम्हें अकॉर्डिंगली नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस को स्किप करते हुए आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। हमेशा याद रखना, तत्व सॉल्व करते समय, कोई भी बुक सॉल्व करते समय, पहली बार सॉल्विंग इज नॉट द लास्ट टाइम सॉल्विंग। मतलब तुम पहली बार जब किसी बुक को सॉल्व कर रहे हो तो तुम्हारा आखिरी बार नहीं है उस बुक के साथ में, यू हैव टू एक्चुअली गो थ्रू दैट बुक फॉर एटलीस्ट 2-3 टाइम्स। तो जब तुम पहली बार तत्व को सॉल्व कर रहे हो तो मान लो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 किया, फिर क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 किया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 किया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 12 किया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 15 किया, ऐसे करते करते एंड तक पहुंचना जरूरी है। और ये रेस क्लास के साथ चलनी चाहिए। क्यों? अगर तुमने एक एक सवाल किया और तुम 100 में से सिर्फ 30 या 40 सवाल ही कर पाए तो एक्चुअली तुमने पहले के 40 सवाल में आने वाले कॉन्सेप्ट तो समझ लिए, लेकिन बचे हुए जो 60 क्वेश्चन थे उसके कॉन्सेप्ट तुम देख ही नहीं पाए। गेटिंग? पर हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट के सवाल देखना। तुम सोचो, क्या मैं सिर्फ 2 कॉन्सेप्ट के 100 सवाल करूं या मैं 10 कॉन्सेप्ट के कम से कम 5-5 सवाल कर लूं? राइट, करूंगा मैं 50 सवाल ही, लेकिन मैं सारे कॉन्सेप्ट के सवाल कर पाऊंगा, तो मेरे लिए बेनिफिट वहां ज्यादा है। तो जब मेरा पूरा मान लो मेरा एग्जाम आया, एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव टेस्ट आ गया, तब मैं वापस तत्व सॉल्व करूंगा। अब मैंने पहले 1, 3, 7, 12 ऐसे किया था ना, अब मैं 2, फिर 4, फिर 8, फिर 13 ये वाले क्वेश्चन लगाऊंगा। जब थर्ड रिवीजन कभी करूंगा तो उसमें मैं जाऊंगा क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 6, लाइक दैट। गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? और मैं इसके हर बार मार्क करूंगा कि मैंने क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 कर लिया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 कर लिया, क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 कर लिया, उसमें रियलाइज किया क्वेश्चन नंबर 10 में बहुत एफर्ट लगे तो स्टार मार्क भी कर लिया। ये सारी चीजें करते हुए चलोगे तो तुम जितना टाइम देते हो ना यार, उसमें तो मतलब यू शुड बी अहेड ऑफ द क्लास। कोई बात नहीं यार, ये शुरू के टेस्ट के नंबर से ज्यादा तुम जितना जानते थे वो तुम करके आ पाए यार। इसमें देख लेना, जैसे तुम ये वाला करने लगोगे ना तुम अपने आप टेस्ट में भी इंप्रूव कर जाओगे, क्योंकि बहुत बार तुम जो कॉन्सेप्ट सीख रहे हो वो पूरे सीख ही नहीं पा रहे हो। तुम 5 में से 3 2 कॉन्सेप्ट सीख के टेस्ट में जाते हो 100% कॉन्फिडेंट होगे। तो इट इज बेटर दैट यू हैव सीन ऑल द कॉन्सेप्ट्स बेटर एंड सीन क्वेश्चंस ऑन ऑल ऑफ देम। तो ये बात ट्राई करके देखो। क्वेश्चंस यार, फिजिक्स में मैं बस एक ही बात बोलता हूँ, कॉन्सेप्ट्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग फिजिक्स में प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग से ही आती है। चाहे तुम कितनी भी बुक्स पढ़ लो, कितनी भी वीडियोस देख लो, कॉन्सेप्ट जब तक खुद से पेन और पेपर नहीं चलेगा कोई फिजिक्स नहीं समझ में आएगी। आएगी भी तो 2 दिन बाद भूल जाएगी। सॉल्व किए हुए कॉन्सेप्ट्स जो याद रहते हैं ना वो लाइफ में लाइफ लॉन्ग स्टे करेंगे, ऐसे होते हैं। ठीक है, ओके। ये सादिक, यू विल हैव टू टेक अ कॉल। इसीलिए तो बोला कि सिर्फ एक बार सॉल्व नहीं करना तत्व को, 3 बार सॉल्व करोगे कम से कम। यस निहाल, कांग्रेचुलेशंस, चेंज द स्कूल। So see Nihal, only thing that I can tell you only one thing from the little experience that I have from life is that change is the only constant in this world. That means how your life was till 10 standard, you cannot expect that to stay forever. It has to change. How you looked at school has to change. How you looked at your studies has to change. How you looked at subject has to change. How you looked at concepts has to change. The sooner you accept the fact that change is the only constant, you will actually be able to adjust to the changes better. And that is true for everybody, including your teachers. Till 10th standard, we all went through the same process. School was the most important thing in our life till 10th standard. After 10th, that's the only time for the first time that we decide to talk about our career. Nobody speaks about career till 10th standard. At our time, people used to speak about career after 12th. So we used to like enjoy our school till 12th. I took a job after 12th. So till 12th, I enjoyed my school. But after 12th, I cannot expect only to expect the same life as I had in school, right? So change happened. I accepted the change. For you guys, that change has come after 10 standards. You have to accept it. You have to prioritize now that what you are getting right now, that you are not having a school going on, your classes of school are not going on. It's actually a boon. Trust me. It's actually a boon. Because schools will not take you to a J level of preparation. They will not. They will simply drag you back. Because school will ask you to memorize things. School will ask you to write your answers 5 times. They will expect you to write answers exactly as it is there in your NCERT or textbooks. Useless. I call it useless. Because my life is eventually not going to be, means after my education is done, your life is not, written in a book. Your life is not running by a manual. Your parents don't work with a manual. Your mother doesn't cook with a manual every day, right? That simply shows that you're not serious about JEE preparation. You have to find your reason that why are you preparing for JEE examination. Think about it. Talk to people, especially people around you. Talk to your friends. Talk to your seniors. Or try to find an answers within. That why do I want to become an engineer? What will happen if I become an engineer? Will that be the life that I would want? And do I have a better alternative as a future career option? If there is, then probably engineering is not the thing. But if engineering is what is taking you to that path, then you will be better motivated to study for it. Okay? Writing what? I never asked you guys to write notes of physics. About chemistry and math, you'll have to speak to the teachers. For physics, I've given you the guidelines already. So the time that you should dedicate for subject should be already allocated. The time which should go for physics should only be for problem solving. As simple as that. I try to keep things transparent. I don't try to create hazy boundaries. So my physics instructions are clear. I only want you people to have a note of important expressions, formulas when I'm teaching you guys. After the class also, I don't want you people to take the notes. I want you to take a printout if possible. If not, take a soft copy of the PDFs. Go through that whenever you're solving the questions. Have it open in your devices. Solve the questions. Take the help from the notes. Okay? Chiranjeevi Sujay, I'm trying to unmute you, bacha, so that we can talk, but your microphone is not working. Chiranjeevi Sujay, your microphone is not working. Chiranjeevi, that's a mobile phone stand. Hanna, I think your microphone is also not working. Hanna Sharma, microphone not working, bacha. Chiranjeevi, are you there? Bye, Stephen. I know you can hear me, Chiranjeevi. Oh, yeah, Stephen, unmute. Wait a minute. Hanna, still not happening. Chiranjeevi, speak to your Sam once. What is the best backup? Eh? Speak to your Sam, Chiranjeevi. And simultaneously drop an email at VK also. Hanna, are you there? User not present. Sadiq Irfan, I did not get your question, bacha. What is the best backup? Sir, ISRO will give jobs like astronauts to some people, yes. Let's try Hanna. Yes, Hanna. Is it Hannah or is it Hanna? Hannah, yes. So sorry. Look, now it's over wrong. Yes, tell me, Hannah. After the class. As far as my classes are concerned, short notes is the thing that you have to make. Derivations is something that I consider as a part of practice, not as a part of notes. You have CBSE perspective, you will worry in 12th standard, not in 11th standard. Because you're writing board next year, not this year. This year should be completely dedicated to JEE preps. Okay. They are only considering that there is only one force acting on the body, and that force is a conservative or non-conservative. So if we say talk about path 2 and 3, if we talk about path 2 and 3, then it may appear that yes, the net force is coming out to be 0, so the force might be conservative. But it should be valid for path 1 and 2 together also. Path 1 and 3 should be also giving me 0 work. Path 2 and 3 should also give me 0 work. But for path 2 and 1 only, the work did not come out to be 0. So even if there is one possibility where this does not hold true, I will say that it is not conservative. Okay. Okay. Hey, दूसरा बच्चा कौन है? Chiranjeevi, is that you? I want to be an astronaut in ISRO. Then JEE is one of the ways. Okay. Keep preparing for JEE. Fine, everyone. Let's call it the day. Finally, it's 10:45. Close to that. Let's meet again on Friday. Okay. Sure then. Bye. Hasta la vista. Good night. Sure. Bye. Take care, guys. Good night.